So here we are in Donegal, and I have to say this is probably one of my most scariest paddles yet. Um, and I'll explain why as we go along. But this was a tricky one. If I was ever going to call the RNLI, I was very close to it on this occasion. Anyway, we're in Portnablagh, which is in just beside Dunfanaghy, which is a very popular holiday resort in Donegal. There I am, Portnablagh. And I had planned to paddle back up to Lough, which is where I'd finished off last time, and then try and get further on around the coast of Donegal if possible. So again, this is the route really, Portnablagh back up to Swilly, because the last paddle had been Melroy Head round to Lough. So this is me just looking at the routes, and here we are. Fanad Lighthouse at the mouth of Lough is kind of the aim. And here I am. So it's December. Good morning. Might look like I'm about to rob a bank, but actually I'm about to go paddleboarding. I am here under the light of the moon. I think you can just about see it. About to head off to Fanad. It's a 5 hour paddle. It's about 2 degrees today, so it's cold, but it's frosty, but the sea is quite calm. There's no winds, low winds today. No, but low winds, which is great. So it's about a 5 hour paddle to Fanad Lighthouse, and I'm just about to get going. So wish me luck. All proceeds going to the RNLI. So it's December and it's quite chilly. This is what the harbour looks like before sunrise. It was very frosty. Anyway, and you can see the sun up in the sky, and this is me heading off away from Portnablagh, and lots of lovely areas, popular destinations around here. And I'm not really going into the coastal towns or anything because I'm just literally cutting across the headland where possible. And here I am, the sun coming up behind me, beautiful sunrise. That's the sea, you can see. Standing, which is always a good sign. It means it can't be too choppy. Sitting, that's probably me taking photos. I just try to paddle as much as I can rather than take too many photos, but sometimes it just looks too nice. See the moon up behind me. Setting off in the wee hours of the morning. And yeah, you can see I was about to stop here and have a break. I think I managed to get a good bit covered. I think it's about 18 miles, which is kind of like once you get anything past that, it gets uncomfortably, it's 5 hours paddle is hard work. So anything less than that, ideally, um, 3 hours is almost it's quite pleasurable. Anything over that starts getting quite uncomfortable. So here I am, to have a little break. Donegal coastline behind me. Nice day today so far. It's cold. I've got all my layers on. I'm actually usually sweating inside under all my layers. Now this is where it all starts going horribly wrong. And that's the thing with the sea. You just don't know. It was a beautiful start this morning, nice and fairly calm, low winds. But if you look out here, there's a boat here. I'm coming up to Melroy Bay. And I was looking at it thinking that looks like fog, but I've never really encountered a blanket of fog before, and this is the first time. So I'm coming across here. This is the entrance of a bay. So there's a couple of things going wrong for me right now. I don't usually cross at the mouth of the bay because the water coming out hits the water of the sea and can often cause quite big waves. I usually go in and cut across, but there's a boat here and I just don't want to get in the way of the boat. So that kind of throws everything off. So I decide to cross out here at the mouth of the bay. But there is a wall of fog coming straight in my direction too. So It's hard to know what the fog's going to be like when you get close to it, but you can kind of see it goes on and on. This big long wall of fog. And so here I am crossing the mouth of the bay here, and it's getting very foggy. That wall has just come straight in. Now I can see, like around here and here, there's some towers on the headland, and that's about all I can see. The visibility is very poor. And I'm just really worried about this boat because I don't want to run into a ship, obviously, in poor visibility. And I'm just thinking, is it stationary? Is it going anywhere? You can see, I can just about see the monuments on the headland, and that's what's keeping me right. And as you go up to Fanad Lighthouse, this is before Fanad Lighthouse, but this is just after the bay. And I keep paddling and paddling, and you can see like this is the waves. The sea is not good where the mouth of a loch hits the sea. It's usually choppy and rippy and unpredictable. Anyway, Um, I'm starting to go past now the mouth of the bay and on round, but I'm really in the thick of the fog here as I'm paddling. And I do remember seeing on the map that there's these two beaches here, which is where I was kind of planning on coming in, but I couldn't quite see the beaches. And then I was trying to figure out where Richard was when I was paddling along here. And then out of nowhere, there were these freak waves. Now, I didn't take my camera out because it was just, I could hear them and I couldn't really see them that well. But there was just these massive rolling waves that came out of nowhere. And so I had to paddle further out. Look how far out I am. I had to paddle further out. So I paddled out to avoid a ship, and which seems crazy. And then I paddled further out because I had these massive rolling waves, and it was the only way, otherwise I was going to get swept off the board, was to try and get back out back and round. And again, and very poor visibility. I was stressing out a little bit here, and I'm getting further and further along the coast, mainly because I'm dealing with the waves, and I'm not too sure. So anyway, I think this is me finally coming in, and I'm finally in. But strangely enough, I do remember I was talking to, as a massage therapist, talking to one of my massage clients we were talking about the area he was from, that area, his family's from there. And he told me that he'd had a hairy experience at one point going out around there with some jet skis. And it was flat and calm. It was flat and calm whenever I left Portnablagh. There was no swell, but somewhere around there are some freak rolling waves. And unfortunately, I encountered them in the fog. He encountered them on jet skis with children, and he said it was really horrible trying to get over the waves with the kids on back and trying to stay calm. And yeah, I will not forget those rolling waves. Anyway, this is me finally on the ground. But I was so glad to get in, tell you what. Hi, so here I am with my trusty board. I just got off the sea. A lot of kneading today. I paddled from Portnablagh to Fanad Lighthouse, which is just here, and it was quite foggy, which was right worrying for a while. Thankfully, it cleared and it's turned into a lovely day. So thankfully, here I am, just trying to see if I can find where my on-land support team are. Right. So as soon as I saw the fog, I contacted Richard and I was like, I just want to get out of here. And so he's, where are you? So they started driving from Portnablagh across, and I was trying to send them a pin. And little did I know that the Wi-Fi's dreadful around there too. So they couldn't find me and they couldn't contact me. And when I finally did find them, they were like, Jack was like, well, that was a fine goose chase, wild goose chase or something like that. So thankfully I didn't stress them out too much, but it was just a frustrating day for all of us, even though it started so beautifully. So anyway, and this is the plan for the following day. I wanted now to go from further down the coast, trying to get round Donegal. So from Portnablagh towards Falcara, I thought would be the next thing. But we had a wee night out, much needed pint of Guinness, and went around to the bars in Dunfanaghy. It's a great wee town. Here we are getting some food and a few drinks. And then, yeah. What's happening?
We're stuck in the whole time with the power on.
So I have power on Dunfanaghy.
And I can't even stop. I cannot really see a thing. The whole police station is now perfect. I don't know what's gonna happen.
Jack's worried about security and safety of Portnablagh, but he managed to play some pool. She loves doing. While I'm paddleboarding, he enjoys a bit of pool and some golf. And we're having, it was turned into a really fun evening. There's Richard and Jack. So this is what I was faced with in the morning, looking out. I've actually got my inflatable set with me this time. I'm trying to remember why. I think maybe my other board was getting fixed. I did get it. The the bit was opened. It wasn't me. Somebody opened the bit with my board on top and it crunched a bit, and it might have been around then. I was just trying to make sure that it was seaworthy. So I was using my inflatable. This is Portnablagh. This is where we were staying. It's Portnablagh Harbour. It's beautiful, but look at the frost. It was oh yes, a little crack on my board that needed fixed. And so I'm heading that direction today. But like even the roads are so frosty, I was a bit worried about getting down. But it looks nice and calm. Really cold and white and frosty. So anyway, I always bring my paddleboard, my rolling, beautiful little accommodation that we had right overlooking the water. It's what I like to do. And I always try to start and end the day with some rolling, stretch out. And we did go whatever way the tide was heading. We had time to go for a little walk, so we went down to Marble Hill. I have to say, it's one of my favorite beaches. It's beautiful, it's lovely and calm, and there's lots going on there that Sunday morning. I think there must have been a dip. Look how cold it is. It's like woolly hats, boots, and everything on Portnablagh or Marble Hill, running around. It's lovely. So, yeah, so we did a little bit of exploring before we took off. So this is me getting ready to go again. Good morning. Frosty one today. Frosty and cold, but no wind. So it's going to be really, well, low wind. There is a small craft warning later on tonight. But I'm hoping it does look nice and flat and calm, although I'm a little bit more inland. It's not as big a paddle today. It's about 3.5 hours from Portnablagh to Falcara. So wish me luck. I've got all the warm layers on again today to keep warm. Right. Thanks. All proceeds going to the RNLI. Please sponsor me. Bye. So here are, this is the route. So it's 13 miles. I don't know. It seemed to take me ages. I am paddling out. And I was pointing because I saw there were some dolphins. Or it looked like dolphins or porpoises when I was paddling out and I was trying to get the guys. It took me 4 hours in the end. Just getting around that headland seemed to take forever. And then I hit the beaches and Tramore Beach. Are you heading out? Oops. I watched this man fishing and he seemed to put, every time he put his line in, he seemed to bring up loads of fish. And it's maybe why the dolphins were in the bay. This is the headland, which took me forever to get around. There's nothing out there. Kept thinking.
Cargo vessel Pavi. Cargo vessel Pavi. Call sign Sierra Bravo Golf Whiskey 2. Call sign Sierra Bravo Golf Whiskey 2. Cargo vessel Pavi. Southwest bound.
So there was a rescue going on. So I had my radio on. I contacted the Coast Guard like I always do and told them what I was doing. And I even did a radio check before I left with them. And then, but as I was heading around this massive headland, I could hear a rescue going on in Lough Swilly. It was quite scary because it takes a while before, you know, it was a flare they heard, somebody saw a flare, something first of all, first warning, and then they put out a check. Is there anyone seen anything? And, you know, you can then slowly hear it all unfolding. And then the Coast Guard the lifeboats came out and they rescued them, but they must have been in the water for quite a long time, which is scary when it's so cold. So the problem with today was in the winter in December, it's dark, like 4:30, something ridiculous like that. So you're literally paddling, you're watching the sun setting and you're like going, please, I need to get to that beach over there before it gets dark. So that's the main danger, as well as being cold. It gets dark really quickly. This is me coming in. We're through the waves. I can see the snow in the mountains. Bit bedraggled. I was knackered. It was 2 really long paddles in a row. It was Richard carrying my board and Jack. Right. Out of the sea, we are in Balcara Beach, beautiful stunning beach in Donegal. I just paddled from Portnablagh, which is a little harbour, and big high cliffs between here and there, and more beach over there too, but beautiful, beautiful areas. Very tiring, took me longer than I expected, an extra hour of paddling, but got in just before the sunset, which is 4:30, so it's early because it's the winter months, and it's 1 degree today, like there's frost everywhere. You can see snow on the mountains behind me. Very glad to have that over and done with. Thanks for watching. Please want to me, all proceeds going to the RNLI. Thank you. And actually, when I was out in the water today, I had my radio on, and the RNLI were out doing a rescue today. Lough Foyle, there was a boat in trouble, and they had to get a helicopter and boat. So I was listening to that, which was also making me feel a bit nervous being out in the middle of the sea. But thankfully, conditions are good. So, thanks for watching. Bye. Yeah, so all the more reason to be sponsoring and raising money for the RNLI. So what a weekend. Got those 2 big bits done now. I wanted to cross Lough Swilly. I hadn't done that yet. Now, as I said, I usually try to avoid crossing at the mouth of the lochs and trying to find somewhere. And sometimes it's actually hard to find places to get into the sea. So anyway, I found this place, I think it was around Ramelton. And it's the last day. Now the guys are pretty tired, and it's another couple of hours, and it's part of our route home. So they were losing their patience, but I just want to get it done. Just about to paddle across Lough Swilly. I'm at Ramelton here, and of course it'd be a couple of hours to get across the loch, but it's nice and sheltered down here, further inland than the mouth of the loch. Anyway, very picturesque. Wish me luck. Bye. It was windy enough. Out in the sea, but I was hoping it'd be a bit more sheltered. It's very picturesque. It was less like absolutely beautiful. This is me paddling out. A lot of islands in the middle of Lough Swilly. Paddling out. There's a wee seal. You can see the currents flowing. It's the problem with the loch is generally currents. I think I'd pretty much timed this still to be around as little movement as possible. But you never know unless you really need to do a lot of homework about these areas to figure out what it's going to be like. That's me heading in. Paddling across, having something to eat. I don't often get to sit still and eat something, so it's usually a good sign that the sea is pretty calm. Because often sometimes I'm trying to eat, but if you put the paddle down, you end up getting swept back. So I don't usually stop. You can see all the gear on me. I've got my radios, VHF radios for the Coast Guard and for Richard and Jack. This is me paddling back in. And it was really lovely. Just coming in from paddling Lough Swilly, right that way. Not so bad. Got camp today and few seals. Anyway, glad that's done. Thank you. Bye. So I didn't actually feel that satisfied with the crossing, because there was the big island here kind of in the way. So I ended up going back another time. I just really wanted to make sure I'd done it properly. So here I am. I was chatting to some people, who knew the area, getting a bit more local knowledge about Lough Swilly and where it would be a good place to cross. And then I got this advice here, second attempt. So here I am at Blanket Nook. And if you can see behind me, that is Lough Swilly. So last time I came here, I just couldn't find a good entrance and exit point to cross the loch. And there weren't just that many roads down to the water. But I did a bit of local knowledge, and I discovered this place that's called Blanket Nook. And there's a walkway along here. But I'm going to try and paddle right across Lough Swilly this morning. So this is a couple of months later. So I think this is maybe February, New Year, but it's very picturesque. And look how flat and still it is. Here I am in the middle of Lough Swilly. It's literally right in the middle here. Behind me is Letterkenny, and in front of me, over here, so that's in Donegal. Over here, the top is Buncrana, Inch Island, Inch Walkways over here. So anyway, just so nice and calm. I thought I would just stop and have a little drinks break and biscuit. Yeah, so it's nice and calm and peaceful. So it's always a good sign in the middle of a loch if you feel like taking some food out and a drink. Usually really good that it's nice and calm and relaxed and very picturesque. So there's one wee boat in the middle of the sea. And that was it, me crossing to the other side. And quite enjoyable. It's very calm, very peaceful. Inch Island.
I'm having a problem with the connection. Please try again in a while.
Right. So yeah, this is just all the beautiful scenery, lovely and shimmery. So feel more confident that I've done Lough Swilly now. That's my 2 attempts crossing it at different areas, and this one was a bit closer down towards Letterkenny, and it was fairly straightforward. So very pleased with that. Yes, onwards and more of Donegal to do next. Thanks for watching.